Hey guys, I'm Tim Kirk. I'm a regional sales manager for Cornerstone in the UK, and today I've been asked to talk about life for Family Kirk in the new normal. And like any good story, there's a beginning, a middle, and some sort of cliffhanger or an end. At Cornerstone, we love an acronym, so this is what I'm going to call the paradiddle of P's, the p-p-p-p-p. Pre-pandemic, pandemic, and post-pandemic. So pre-pandemic life is pretty normal for a 2.4 child family in the UK. So there's me, and you already know what I do for work. In whatever spare time I did have, I like to play a bit of guitar, I like to go for a run or a bike ride. I'm a British bloke, so I like to go to the pub a lot, and I like to make stuff out of old pallet wood. I made these guitar frames, as well as these mud kitchens that I sell through the school, and I give a percentage to the PTA. There's my wife Nicola, who works in the marketing team for Weight Watchers, or WW as they are now. She works from their Maidenhead office Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, full-time mum on Thursday and Friday. Outside of work, she is football mad. A soccer for you guys that play football with the wrong shaped ball. When she's not playing, it's training for it, and when she's not training for it, she's watching it, and when she's watching it, she's following some sort of Twitter feed about it. When she's not doing something football related, the chances are she's probably asleep. Our daughter Evelyn, or Evie, she's 5 and in the first year of school, massively intelligent, super social, and absolutely loves school. Loves Lego, spending time in the garden. Favourite item is probably the iPod that we got for Christmas, loaded with show tunes, particularly The Wizard of Oz. I mean, I must have heard Over the Rainbow more times in the last week than I've had hot dinners in my entire life. Last but not least is Rosie. She's 2, proper little character, and probably the busiest pre-pandemic schedule out of all of us. Mondays was at Nanny's, Tuesdays and Wednesdays was at nursery with her friends, and Thursdays, Fridays was tumble tots and hanging with Mummy, and then she had a 3-day weekend, like every week. And then the pandemic hit. And things changed. Now, if there's one thing that Family Kirk do well, it's stay calm in a crisis. And being a Boy Scout back in the day, I learned to always be prepared. So thankfully, as soon as things started looking a bit ropey, instead of racing to the local supermarket to stock up on toilet roll, I started on some practical adjustments at home to make it a little bit more comfortable. First thing I did was make a sign so the kids knew who to complain to and who to leave to work. We flip it over at different points during the day, depending on one another's schedules. Next up, I made some adjustments to the man cave, make it a little bit more female friendly so that Mrs. Kirk could head out here for any work calls that she needs to make. I mean, before that, this back wall was covered with acoustic foam. The window was causing you to be like a silhouette on WebEx calls. I mean, I'm not the tidiest of people, so it needed a decent clean. I did suggest that, as well as name it Tim's Man Cave, we called it Nicola's Lady Cave, but, well, I dedicated an area of the garden to become our new pub garden. We've got a roaring fire, cheesy pub classics playlist, some outdoor seating for the kids so they can have their meal out there, and we do a weekly pub quiz. I ordered a screen to go with a projector that I keep in the boot of my car for those demos that you turn up to where the client hasn't booked a room with a screen. And I bought a popcorn maker, so we've got a full-on cinema ready for the releases of Frozen 2 onward and Star Wars Day, Rise of Skywalker. I went to the sports store, I bought just about everything in there. So we got badminton, basketball, football, soccer, an assault course, and thankfully England's been uncharacteristically sunny, so we've been pretty lucky. Lastly, we got organised. I remember the evening before the first day of lockdown, Nix and I shared diaries and we wrote down a really detailed plan for who was doing what and when. And it lasted until about 9 p.m, session number 2 on the plan, before somebody external moved the start time of the meeting and the whole plan went out the window. We haven't written another plan since, but it's working well. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's not entirely plain sailing. I've worked from home for years, so I tend to go to the pub after work for those sort of water cooler chats that you don't get in a shed on your own. I put a post up on my local pub social the other day saying how like drunken pub chat is to talking with a 2-year-old. I mean, I joke, but I do miss talking rubbish to strangers. Nicola desperately misses football. She'd release day-to-day stress on the football field, and it was always her main form of exercise. She's massively competitive, nearly as competitive as me, and a real team player. So going for a run on her own just doesn't cut it. As for watching it, apparently they've announced the return of the Bundesliga in Germany at the end of May, so she's now announced that she's an honorary, albeit temporary, Borussia Dortmund fan. Evelyn badly misses school. At 5 years old, struggling a little bit to understand her own emotions. I think it's probably missing her friends and school environment, but it's got to be tough. And even at 2, you can see how much Rosie misses the structure of nursery and the time that she spends with the grandmother. I mean, she's become addicted to Peppa Pig. Turning off the TV is like what I'd imagine taking crack away from an addict is like. I've literally given up. Peppa Pig is in charge of homeschooling now. But all that said, I think we'll look back on the pandemic of 2020 fondly. We celebrated some really cool life moments together as a family. I had my 40th birthday, and instead of the big, epic party that I had to cancel, we had a kids' party at lunchtime. Nicola and I had a bit of a date night with 3-course meal and suitable hangover the next day. Instead of the weekend in Porto, she'd already bought, her and her family got me an awesome guitar to mark the occasion. In fact, this guitar. Evelyn learned how to ride a bike on her own, and as is becoming pretty typical for her, she didn't just learn to ride a bike. She rode 4 miles in her first proper bike ride. It's impressive. She can now tie her own shoelaces. Rosie's speech has come on incredibly well, although she is starting to sound a little bit like Peppa Pig. We've managed to potty train her much earlier than we would have if we weren't at home, so it's good. Nicola's realised that she can still work productively from home, and that for the job that she does at work, it doesn't need to be done between 9 and 5, which I think from a stress and anxiety perspective when you're managing the household helps her to be a little bit more relaxed, which is also good. I've got no idea what post-pandemic is going to look like, but one thing I'm massively hopeful for is that more workforces recognise the parts of their workforce that can work flexibly around home and balance having kids at home. Why not work 9 till 3 in the office, pick up the kids from school and then carry on once they're settled or after dinner? More often than not, it's the mums that sacrifice their careers to be available for the school run. I hope that with business leaders having more understanding around flexible working, that these mums can have more and better opportunities available to them. Businesses will be able to take advantage of skills that were otherwise wasted in whatever compromise role that said mum took, and will be taking a massive step in the right direction for true equality in the workplace. Secondly, I hope this increased sense of community continues. The clap to the NHS, the Zoom quiz with the family, the more regular catch-ups that you got with friends and family that you perhaps didn't catch up with pre-pandemic due to busy lives and location constraints. I hope that continues. And I hope that the business innovation that I've witnessed continues. Pubs that are setting up grocery stores, restaurants that are offering food parcels, the supermarkets that have changed the way that consumers shop. Everywhere you look, businesses have been forced to evolve, and the speed at which they've turned things around is just mind-blowing. I hope that continues. And finally, I hope that the Rebellion Brewery in Marlow continue to offer their home delivery service so that I never run out of great beer. Cheers.